What's up, guys? Joe Kehoe here from LePage's ProAlliance, helping you out with all your residential and commercial real estate needs in Bay of Quinte, Prince Edward regions, and beyond. This week's video is going to be on the Q2 2023 home price update and market forecast released by LePage. This is a nationwide report with the tagline, "Latest interest rate hike will soften housing market activity, but home prices are likely not to go down." So let's get into the article. We'll go over the report and I'll give you LePage's thoughts and my thoughts on this article. Let's get into it. So as the article states, latest interest rate hike will soften housing market activity, but home prices are not likely to go down. A quote from Phil Soper, "The Canadian real estate market has been in a steady state of recovery since the start of the year. While these additional interest rate hikes and those potentially to come will put a damper on activity and sales volume, demand for housing remains very strong." And they've actually said that the rate of appreciation will moderate through the second half of 2023, causing home prices to level off or increase marginally, in a contrast to the pretty decently big increases we've saw in the first half of this year. They've also increased their forecast to an 8.5% increase for the aggregate home price across Canada, which was revised and increased because of the strong growth in the start of the year. They then go on to say, Bank of Canada prolonged series of rate hikes have changed how people live. It's pushed people into less expensive housing types or neighborhoods, not their preferred neighborhoods. It's put some people on the sidelines. It's put some people in other provinces. And also the economic uncertainty has caused some potential sellers to reevaluate their plans as well, because they don't want to sell and buy in an uncertain or volatile market. And then we'll go over their press release highlights here very shortly. Some key takeaways that LePage notes from this article that was published. Home prices are actually only down 5.6% from the peak of the market in 2022, which shows that most markets across Canada have actually recovered, which the media has portrayed, and which actually did happen in some cases. In some markets was a full-blown crash. So lots of that price loss has been recovered up to this point from the peak of 2022. 94% of regions showing a quarter over quarter aggregate home price increase. So 19 out of 20 markets, we're seeing prices up quarter over quarter, which means the housing market's going up. And this is due to the lack of supply. So lack of supply is driving the housing market. It's what's been driving the housing market all year. It's what's been giving sellers a hesitancy to list, because if they list, where do they go? Because there's no supply. And LePage, of course, urges officials to increase the production of homes and purpose-built rentals, which everyone in the industry is saying. Take away the red tape. Let us build. Give us incentives. We need more housing, which is not a surprise. So my key takeaways from this report, it's interesting to see that home prices are actually only down 5.6% from the very peak of the market across Canada. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because this is heavily weighted probably towards Toronto and Vancouver, where most of the transactions are happening, where there's less volatility than some suburbs. And I would consider almost like Belleville, Quinte West, Brighton, Napanee, Kingston, like these are like suburbs of Toronto now, although it may seem silly. Like, people are coming from Toronto here, so we see more volatility in that price off of peak. Like, we're definitely more than 5% off peak prices of 2022. So take that with a little bit of grain of salt. And same thing with like Durham and Peel. Like, they're definitely far off 5% from peak of the market. So that's just something to note. Like Toronto prices, they're basically recovered from the peak of 2022. Like, they're on par. Prices up quarter over quarter. Most markets, that's not surprising, and that's, like I've said in previous videos, that's all driven, in my opinion, by the lack of supply, right? Like, prices are going up when rates are going up. What's the answer? It's because there's no supply. And then, of course, LePage urges officials to build more houses. Everyone wants more supply. Everyone wants more homes being built, more affordable rentals being built. So will that happen? Will the economics work? Will they incentivize developers? That's yet to be seen. But anyways, those are my opinions. As always, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you may have. All my info is in the description below, kehoerealestate.com. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.